We take a lot of pride in the fact that you have a really early license number.
Yeah.
Yes.
162.
Yes, it's 162.
Yeah.
That's
HI
that's
162.
That's how long I've been doing it. When we first started, all you needed was a ladder and a flashlight, and you told people what was going on with the house. Computer programs came and made our lives a lot easier. Now we've got infrared, we've got drones that are making our life a little safer.
Welcome to the Studio 321 podcast, powered by Brightway, the Steve Trout Agency. We're sitting down with real estate pros, insurance nerds, mortgage masterminds, and local legends who are making moves on the Space Coast. Hosted by the best insurance crew in the 321. At Studio 321, it's all about community, real connections, and sharing a few laughs along the way. Strap in, let's launch into today's episode. Our guest today dedicated 20 years of his life to the Air Force, serving in a civil engineering squadron and keeping facilities running strong. After crossing paths with the founder of an inspection business, he saw an opportunity for a second career and never looked back. What started as a new venture has grown into a true family operation. He and his wife own the company, and their two son-in-laws now work alongside them as licensed inspectors. Over the years, he's made quite a name for himself here on the Space Coast real estate market. I first met him many years ago through a B&I group, and we've been doing business together ever since. Those who know him will tell you he's genuine, trustworthy, and always delivers. He's done a tremendous job for our clients time and time again, making sure their insurance inspections are completed with care and expertise. More than business, though, he's most proud of his family. 2 daughters with master's degrees, both thriving in healthcare and making a difference in this world. Please join me in welcoming to the Studio 321 podcast, our friend, Ken Ruppert.
Woo woo! Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, gee.
Glad to be here.
Original gangsta.
Yeah.
Man, what's your license? So you have like so we take a lot of pride in the fact that you have a really early license number.
Yeah.
Yes.
162.
Yes, it's 162.
Yeah.
That's
HI 162.
That's how long I've been doing it. Yeah, it's a long
So
time.
like, in the insurance business, when we see an inspector that's like HI 80492, we're like, uh-oh.
Or
You know what I mean?
15,000 now.
I mean, not,
No
but you know what I mean? Like that.
discredit, but
Yeah, but there's definitely like
He
some
knows
clout
his
there.
stuff.
Like when we see an inspection from an old inspection number, we're like, okay, this is somebody that's, knows their stuff and has been around for a while. So, yeah, it's been great doing business with you, man.
That's
You've
an
always taken
understatement.
care of our clients,
Mm-hmm.
Understatement.
and you're like kind of a staple of our agency and somebody that we rely on, to do our clients' inspections and stuff. And you've always done a great job taking care of people, and honestly, it's just been a really awesome partnership. So
Yeah.
we appreciate you, and we appreciate you coming in today because I know you're
100%.
busy and.
I
So-
appreciate it. And like I said, we've worked well together, and it's been a good partnership. I don't know if it's a partnership, but it works out.
It's a
You know,
relationship.
Yeah,
it
it's
is a
a
relationship.
relationship.
I mean, I see it as a partnership.
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
but I always try to do people right. Especially with wind mitigations and 4-points. I think it's worked out well for both of us.
No,
And-
absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of trust that goes into the relationship too, right? Like when we say to our clients, like, hey, call Ken at Happy Homes to do your inspection, or what if we need a 4-point or we need a wind mitigation, our clients are trusting that we're sending the right people to go to their house and do all that, right? And so, you're just a man of high integrity. And I know when you go to our client's house, we're not going to get a phone call like, like anything crazy's going on or anything, so.
Well, maybe we do, but you work with them, and that's definitely a good thing too. You letting them know, like, hey, this is what you need to do to get, the insurance you need. So
Well, a lot of it is educating
Yep.
the homeowner what is what and why they don't like something, or because a lot of the insurance agents, you guys are pretty well educated on what we need, but some other agents, they don't know how to tell the people, hey, look, you've got an old roof, you're going to have to change it out probably sooner than later. But they don't explain that to them. They just say, oh, well, you got you got canceled for this
No.
reason. I tried to explain to people, look, hey, when I go on your roof, and I say, hey, this is my opinion. Your roof is getting toward the end of its life. It's you're going to have to change it because the insurance companies, want a newer roof because they know older roofs are more susceptible to leaks, damage from high winds and stuff like that. Yeah. So what I try to explain to them, and there's analogies I have for pretty much everything, but I tell people, look, when it comes to your roof, as it gets older, it's not going to do the job that it's made to do. Yeah. Just for example, you have a car outside, you have 4 tires, they're bald. Would you drive on I-95 in the rain with bald tires? They're all holding air, and they're not flat, but you can drive on them. But would you trust your life with that? Yeah, exactly. But most people go, no, I'd go get new tires. Well, that's the same thing. Yes. Yeah. Your roof gets old. It's not going to do what it needs to do, and you have to change it out. Unfortunately, because of the cost of roofs.
I was going to say, well, I don't want to pay for it.
No.
Somebody else is going to pay for it.
Well, that's when I explain to people, like, right now they've just refunded the My Safe Florida Home program. Mm-hmm. Again, there are programs out there to help people that can't, may not be able to afford it right now, but it's a grant it's your tax dollars at work. Why not take advantage of it?
That's really good to know.
And then that's what I tell people. They go, well, I'm trying to get 5 years worth of life left on it. We're all trying to get 5 years worth of life left. And I said, well, I can't give you that, but here's a program. And there are other programs besides that. I think there's a program where I'm trying to think of the name of it, and I don't want to misspeak, but I think it's called PACE program, where it's part of your you can get a grant, but you pay it through your property taxes. Oh. Okay, where the My Safe Florida Home program is a program where you pay for it and then they reimburse you. Yeah. But we see that all the time.
No, and I mean that's that's awesome about us, like referring you as the inspector, because when you go out, you're not just doing the inspection and leaving. You're kind of giving them a heads up. Hey, here are the problems. This is probably what the issues are going to be. And so when we make that phone call to the client to say, yeah, you're going to need to replace your water heater. Yeah, you're going to need to update the. And usually they're like, yeah, Ken already kind of warned me that's probably going to be the case.
Every time it's great.
I mean, so you kind of tee them up for us too. Where it's like that. It's just so important. Like that relationship, that the way that you operate is so important to us. Because it really does help make our lives easier. It makes our clients' lives easier. So yeah, man, like I said, we appreciate it, dude. Like,
that's why I consider it a partnership, because you're doing a lot of legwork for us unintentionally. You're doing what's morally in your mind what you're about. Yeah, and
you're the bad guy.
Well, that's what I tell people. I say I'm the messenger. I'll always get beat up, but this is what to expect. And most likely, if they say something, it's going to be this or this. So you can start. Calling a plumber about changing a water heater out, or an electrician because you have aluminum wiring, or a double tap. I tell people, hey, look, do you have an electrician friend? If not, I can send you a couple of names so you can get this done, because they're most likely going to tell you to get it fixed, and you're going to have to get it fixed, and then I'm going to have to come back. Okay, so at least up front to be aware that it's coming down the road from the insurance carrier saying, hey, they want you to fix this. So, if I can educate people, it makes our lives a lot better. So
Yeah, it's a huge value add. Yeah. You're doing more than just the inspection.
Exactly. And I try to do that. And a lot of times with this, in the inspections, I try to explain to people, hey, look, there's specific questions that they ask that I have to answer, but I don't put any more or less in those, answers.
Exactly
where some inspectors will do, like, it asks, for example, on your water heater, you have a safety valve, temperature pressure relief valve. Okay, it says, is there one? Yes or no. That's all I answer. But some go, oh, there's no drip pipe, or something like that. I answer what the state asks for, no more, no less. And that way,
and that's what the insurance company wants to know. Like, they want to know the questions on the form, right? And so, and you do a good job of completing that. Like, in our past, most inspectors have come around now. But I remember in the early days of doing business with you, you were like one of the first to put the inspections all in one PDF. You know, we used to get
Manual.
like a manually written inspection and then
40 pictures.
40 pictures in separate files, you know, and you know, that sounds okay, right? But for us, it's absolute torture because
time is
when we
everything.
get 40 different files, we now have to upload every single one of those files or figure out a way to combine them ourselves. And so those are the things that like drive us crazy when we get those where they're separate files, right? And you don't think about that much maybe as an inspector, but like it does make a huge difference because all those files have to go to the carrier. So now we got to get 40 files to the carrier rather than one file, right? And so like those things make just a huge difference. But you always been kind of ahead of the curve on that, and I've always been like a one file, you know, per inspection guy, which has been awesome too.
Yeah.
A lot is April's doing.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not
we'll
going
get
to take
her.
credit for that.
We'll
That's
get to her.
Yeah, we'll get to
We'll get to her.
Yeah, we're gonna get to April for sure.
But
But let's pivot a little bit. Let's go back, man. Take us back. So you started in the Air Force, right?
Yep.
Tell us about that. Tell us about your life in the Air Force.
Well, I'm an Air Force brat. I was born overseas. My dad spent 20 years in the Air Force. And then at high school, especially my senior year, I'm colorblind. So I knew I couldn't fly in the Air Force. So I knew I didn't want to go to college and then go in the service. So at 18, I decided when I graduated, I was going to join the Air Force because I didn't have any real direction. I knew I didn't want to go to college. I wound up going and getting my degree during my 20 years in the Air Force, but at the time I just didn't know what to
wasn't for
do.
you, yeah.
My dad said, "Well, have you ever thought about the service?" I said, "Sure." He said, "Well, what branch?" And I said, "Well, I only know the Air Force, so let's go talk to a recruiter." And I talked to a recruiter, and then I talked to a buddy of mine who we wound up going together. He joined, and I was just going to do 4 years, get out, come back to Florida. But I met my wife in Arkansas, April, and she's an Air Force brat. And I didn't want to get out and have a wife and not have a job. So I wound up extending for 2 years. Well, that 2 years extension turned into 20 years before the blink of an eye, and then I was retiring and moving back to Florida. My time in the Air Force was basically the whole 20 years was in a civil engineering outfit and or squadron. And what that is we maintain the facilities on the base or in the bases stateside. And when we're overseas, we do the same thing, but we also build facilities, runways, bases. So my squadron, they had plumbers, electricians, HVAC personnel, carpenters, all the officers were all engineers. They were mechanical, electrical. So basically, it was a construction company.
Gotcha.
But you were in the Air Force.
Yeah.
And that's basically our primary job was when we were stateside, we maintained facilities, but our real job was during a war, we would build bases like in Iraq and all that.
You guys would set it all up?
Basically, yep. We would build the runways, we would build the facilities, and that's what we would do. And a lot of times we would oversee. We would be like project managers. You would have a local construction company come in and do that, but you oversaw that. But you also had to be careful because of the nature of that. Who are you having come in and build? It's just like I can't remember the U.S. Embassy that we had built, but we never used because they found out the construction company was putting in hidden mics throughout the facility. And basically we spent all that money and we never used it because it was full of bugs. So anyway, but that's
we could talk about that stuff all day.
We could do that.
Yeah.
But that's what I did. And then when I retired, moved back to Florida, I did a couple odd jobs. I owned a 18-wheeler. I was leased to Rinker Materials out of Port Canaveral, hauling Portland cement. Basically just driving Monday through Friday.
What year was that?
This was 98 to about 2006, 2007 timeframe.
Oh, wow.
So I did that for 10 years, hauling Portland cement to their ready mix plants. So whenever you see a cement truck, okay, that's mixing the Portland cement, the rock, the sand, and water to make concrete. So, but we delivered the powder to these ready mix plants.
Right.
So I did that for a while, and then I met my business partner. I played cards with him, and he knew I was wanting to get off the road, and he said, well, he knew my background, and he said, have you ever thought about becoming a home inspector? And I go, no. He said it would be a natural progression because of your background in the Air Force with facilities. You would be.
No,
it would
gave
be
you
an
a
easy.
huge leg up.
Yeah. So I did a ride along with him for a few days and decided, this was something that I wanted to pursue. And he was looking for someone to come in and partner up with him because he was older than me and he wanted to retire. So I did the ride along. We talked, we discussed, we came up with a price. I partnered up with him for 2.5 years, and then he retired, and then I took over the company with my wife, and then I had my two son-in-laws. I wanted to make sure my daughters were taken care of, so I hired them, gave them a good good job, and that's where we're at. And that was we took over the business in 2010, but the business has been up and running since 2001, so almost 24 years now.
Wow.
Happy Home Inspections has been serving all of Brevard. We do go into Orlando every once in a while. Yeah, I'll go to
favor or
Vero
something?
Beach. I've gone to Palm Beach. I've gone to Tampa for clients that.
I was going to say special favors or something.
Well, yes, for clients that want us and that are willing to pay,
extra,
the pay.
yeah, okay.
One gentleman, he owned a bunch of these weight loss places here, but he was buying a house in Tampa. It was about a $5 million house. And he said, I want you guys to come inspect it for me. I said, sure, no problem. And he took care of us.
See how valued you are?
Yeah, so,
Yeah,
but
you get paid to travel.
yes, exactly. But sometimes, we have enough business to keep us busy in Brevard, and it's worked out. I did have another inspector who lived up in Titusville, and when it was actually closer for him to go to Orlando than it would be to go to Palm Bay, Southwest Palm Bay.
Makes sense.
It was actually closer. So when I would market the East Orlando area, Waterford Lakes, all that, Alafallia Trail around UCF, and he would go back and forth maybe twice a week doing inspections there because it was actually closer. But I tried to concentrate on Brevard just because it's, we're so long. It takes an hour to go from the north end to the south end.
Yeah.
So, I don't
down.
have to go into Orlando. But I will if somebody says,
You're
hey,
already
I've got
covering a pretty big area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I have a realtor that calls and say, hey, I got a client,
Yeah.
they recommended you, and I said, sure, I'll take care of them for
That's
you.
nice.
Yeah, that is
So
nice.
it is what it is. Sometimes you got to go where the business is.
Yep.
So
So what do you think? So with your Air Force background, what do you think was the most important thing you learned in the Air Force that you've carried over to your career now?
well, there's no dumb questions. The only dumb question is the ones never asked. So if a homeowner comes in and doesn't know something, that's a dumb question. If you have a question, ask.
Yeah.
So I try to tell people, look, especially in the military, they tell you, look, if you don't understand something, don't get killed. Ask. Please ask. So that's my biggest thing, and to treat people, fairly. I know military is different the way things are structured.
Yeah.
It's very rigid, and but you take that and you learn, and then you basically, because you have subordinates underneath you, you have to be able to talk to them in a certain way. You can't just yell. You have to be able to talk to them and say, hey, look, you can't do it this way. You have to do it this way. Okay. So you learn to talk with people. You learn to converse with people. And by doing that, especially with homeowners who aren't happy with a increase in their homeowners insurance. You basically you learn to talk to them and say, look, you got to look at it from their side of things and your side of things. You say you have a 20-year-old roof that's not leaking, and so why change it? Yeah, I agree with you, but they're looking at it from a different perspective.
Old tires.
It's old, yes. It's old shingles.
Yeah, imagine when it comes to us. They're like,
Right.
well, it's not leaking. My roof's in perfectly good shape. I'm like, I don't question that at all. I have zero quarrels against your roof. This is nothing personal. The insurance companies have certain black and white guidelines.
Right.
It is what it is.
And that's it. And they know that. And they know an older roof is more susceptible to leaking and damage. So when I try to explain to people, look, things don't last forever. We don't last forever. Roofs don't last forever. Water heaters don't last forever. At some point, they're going to fail.
That's good.
Usually, and the insurance companies know that. It's one thing if your water heater is located in a garage and the garage is actually lower than the main slab of the house, then if it leaks, it's just going to go in the garage. But if that water heater is in a laundry room in the main house, if it floods, I've seen it from my neighbor's house, what a busted water heater can do. So, the insurance companies, they're always the bad guys, but
the insurance company doesn't want to wait until it does start leaking.
Right.
They want to get in
It's
front of it.
risk management.
and in the military, that's what we did. We did preventive maintenance. When something was wearing out, or you knew something was going, you changed it out. You didn't wait till it broke. You fixed it.
I love this conversation.
Especially, like if you have a 2 or 3 star general like I had when I was stationed at Barksdale Air Force Base. That was 8th Air Force headquarters. You had a 3-star general there. If his air conditioning wasn't working, you didn't wait for it to break. You were there. You were changing stuff out when it was getting old, or when you thought, hey, this is not acting right. You changed it out because you didn't want him calling your commander saying, why is my office so hot? So that's what I try to tell people. I said, look, it's better to do it beforehand than to wait till the aftermath and then try to clean everything up and fix everything, because it's going to be a lot worse.
And there's two sides of that coin. It's just for anybody listening. Obviously, ACs are more expensive, roofs are more expensive, water heaters are more expensive. Life stuff going on. Not to say nobody saves for that stuff, but it's hard to do that.
It is.
If you're scraping by, you don't have money to put aside for things like that. And then when they come up and they do break, it's tough. So I get that side of the phone calls we get as well. But to your point, you're right. Fix it before it breaks. Correct.
And that's what I try to tell people. I say, hey, yes, roofs are expensive. ACs are expensive, but you can always finance them, just like a car. You can always finance them too, or look for programs that can do it. But you don't want to see, for the example I was given back before, underneath my neighbor's kitchen sink, you have shutoff valves, and then from there you have these risers that go up to the faucet. Well, that burst one day when they were at the beach. They came back. They had water coming out the front door and their garage door. Wow. They called USAA. They were active duty. They called USAA. They came, saw what was going on. They put them up. Took about 6 weeks for them to rebuild the house just from the water leak. The bill was $83,000. So when I tell people, look, the insurance companies are just trying to keep that from happening. Okay. So if they see something like on one of our photographs on our 4-point, a little bit of corrosion, they don't know if that's an active leak or not. Okay, so what they're trying to be is proactive. They're saying, hey, you need to change those valves out. You need to change those risers out. You need to change them out now, so we don't have this problem in a year or two, because we don't. They're a for-profit company.
Hey man, if you ever want to retire from doing inspections, man, you'd be a great agent.
Oh yeah.
I think that's our biggest misconception in the insurance world, as far as like insurance carriers goes, is like the carriers don't want to pay the claims, and that's not the case at all, because ultimately they're the first ones hands on deck when a hurricane or anything. They're like, please call us. Anything you need, just let us know. But that's probably the biggest misconception with insurance carriers.
Well, the insurance
that's what it's essentially for.
They're the bad guys.
Well, for instance, they ask for, like, let's say it's a new purchase. They moved in 2 months ago. water leak like that happens. They go, well, I'm going to see a pre-purchase inspection. They see a bunch of corrosion all on there. They knew about it. The people that bought it, they knew it was there. So they're like, well, we're not paying out this claim because this could have been prevented by that, blah, blah, blah. And that's a hypothetical. It's not like a real scenario, but that's exactly what can happen. That's where they get the bad rap.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but I'll say this, like, I'm glad you brought that up about it being a misconception, because I really do think it is. Like, being in the business as long as I have, I see way, way more insurance companies taking care of people than I see the opposite. I mean, like, honestly, like 95% of claims go through, get paid, they take care of people. You know, the 5% ones are the ones that are on the fringe, kind of like what Jason was just saying, like the ones that aren't that clear cut, right? Or maybe they didn't, you know, take care of things like they were supposed to, or, you know, the roof is just at the end of its life and it just is what it is. Like, there's different scenarios that are reasons why they don't pay, right? And those 5% are the ones you hear about. You don't hear about the 95% of claims that are positive and fly right through, and people are like, man, they really took good care of me. You know what I mean? Because people don't talk about them taking care of them. They only talk about them when they don't, right? And so, like, I do feel like just being an agent, I get to feel more pride than I do feeling bad about it, right? Like, we always feel like, oh, man, that was great. They got that claim.
Which we usually
they
don't
really
even
took
hear
care
about
of them on
those.
us. Yeah,
It's because they went good, so you won't hear about it.
correct.
It's true. And the only experience I have have been good. You know, I had a roof damage. I called them. They came out, cut me a check, and said, here. Where my neighbors, you know, had the same problems. They would, the insurance company, and all insurance companies are different, but where they wrote me a $25,000 check, my neighbor, they said, well, we're going to write you, 10% to put down on a new roof. Then when it's roughed in, we'll give you 50%.
Yes.
And then when it's final, we'll do that. And I can see their point why they do some of those things. And it depends on, and it depends on who your carrier is. Mine, he said, your damage is less than this amount, we're going to cut you a check. We're not going to send it to the bank. Where my other neighbors, they sent it straight to the bank. Then they had to contact the bank to get their money. But they're all different, but that's their practice. But I've always had, in my past experience, good experience with insurance companies. But I do hear a lot of horror stories out there that, they wouldn't pay this. But all my neighbors are getting roofs redone because of the hail, and then I call my insurance company. They come out and they go, no, you don't have it. There's always that one or two, you're going to hear. It's like anything.
And we hear about it, right? But like, the cool thing for us, like, we go to bat for our customers.
We do.
Right.
So like, if insurance is a contract, and at the end of the day, if the contract says the insurance company should pay, we're going to fight for them. You know what I mean? And so there's been a number of scenarios in the past where, like you were just mentioning, there's a neighborhood where we had like 20 plus policies in, and I want to say like 15 of them had a real major hailstorm come through and got, new roofs, really no questions asked because the hail was pretty major. And there was one policy that we had that the carrier was saying no on. And I immediately went to bat for that and called the carrier and said, you guys are getting this one wrong. Like, here's the damage, here's this, you're going to lose this one. Like, you need to be paying. And immediately the next day, I got an email from the claims manager, and they paid it immediately, and it was done. But like, those are the things too. That's the importance of having an agent too, right? Because we know what's in the contract, we know what they should be paying, and when they don't pay, and if we feel like our customer's being wrong, we are going to go to bat.
Yeah.
I mean, are we always successful? No. But at least you got somebody on your side. You know what I mean?
That's one thing that I definitely let my customers know. Not only do we represent these carriers, but we also represent you. So, and I think that's important for them to hear too. So they're not like, I'm going to be doing this on my own. You know what I mean? So,
and a lot of people don't know. They say no. What's your course of action to go? Because just because they said no, you can always go above and beyond. I say, look,
It spells it out to do that
Right.
from the insurance carrier.
and I tell them, look,
Tell us
you may
why.
call a roofer, call me, call a public adjuster, and if all three of us are saying you got hail damage, then chances are you got a good case. You may just have to go a little bit farther and do do your research and see what happens. But, you know, if one out of the three are saying hail damage, but the other two are not, chances are it may be something else. But if all three say, oh, no, this is hail damage, then I say, then you need to further, take it down the road and find out what you need to do. Whether, you know, but most of the time, if you're seeing everybody in your neighborhood getting roofs, then most likely they're going to take care of you, because it's going to be weird. Like, house on either side of you and the front and back of you all getting roofs, but you don't, and you don't have a metal roof or a concrete tile roof and it's shingle, chances are it's got some damage to it. But that's not a guarantee. And that's what I tell people. But I said, I'll go up there and look, and if it is what it is, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. You guys are kind of taking this family business to the next level. You know, sometimes people say we got a family business and there's one or two people in the family working in it, but literally everyone in the business is family. So can you kind of explain that dynamic? How has that been over the years? Has there been challenges involved with that, or has it been pretty smooth?
There's always challenges with having a family-owned business. I mean, a family-owned business, we work out of our home. You know, we're there. You know, sometimes our phone says, yeah, we close at 5. But April's looking at her emails at night and says, oh, I got to go schedule, write this down because somebody wants an inspection. This is at 8:30, or, hey, can you call this customer? He has a question that you just did the inspection for. Yeah, I'll get on the phone and call him. Yeah, that kind of sometimes sucks.
She has no boundaries.
Right, because, I had another home inspection company, and they were doing the same thing, and they would be working till 8, 9 o'clock at night. Yeah. They finally wound up having to get a storefront because they wanted it at 5 o'clock to be able to lock the door, leave everything back. Nobody needs an emergency inspection at 9:30 at night. Right. It ain't gonna happen. Yeah. So what basically, so having a home business is great because my wife works from home, and but there are some drawbacks. That's one of those. She's stuck at home for most of the week, and that's, she used to work for Lockheed Martin out of the Cape and stuff like that. You used to going out of the house, visiting with people, seeing different people, but then you came home and then you didn't have any work on your mind. But having a home-based business sometimes has its drawbacks. Yeah. And having, I will tell you, and if they listen to this is fine. But sometimes having family members is sometimes tough, because sometimes where the regular employee, it's easier for a regular employee to get terminated than a family member, because then you got your daughters that are calling you going, why'd you terminate my husband? And I go, well, this is it.
You don't have to add context.
No, but I understand that. I mean, honestly, like, doing business with family can be tricky, right? And it does change the dynamic.
Oh, it does. And I've actually told people, like, hey, you start a home-based, you start a small business, try not to hire family members, because there's a different dynamic there, where if he's an employee and he screws up, and he screwed up more than once or twice or 3 times, you're
going to see him at all the family functions.
That's it. And then there's always going to be that resentment and heartache and going, well, why'd you fire me? That type of thing. Yeah, so it is tough, but but if they're good people, it works out.
Yeah. And I bet you in every family business, there's been big drama on some days, right? And that's just the way it goes. Yeah. I mean, it's family at the end of the day. I mean,
but that's it. It's family, and there's no stronger bond than family. And you got to go to bat for them. And sometimes, you just like to say, "Hey, give me your keys and your equipment, and find something else." But you make it work. You make it work, and it has worked out. Where Tom, my oldest son-in-law, he's been with me 15 years, and Alex, I think he's coming up to 10 years.
Wow.
So,
awesome.
But again, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, we see them on inspections a lot, and you've done a great job training them up. And I mean, we know when we see their inspections, we can really trust what's on it. I mean, it really is like a really good dynamic you guys got going on, and what I love about it. So, like, I was going to ask a question later about what sets you apart from your competitors, but like what I think sets you apart from your competitors is April. I think April is your secret weapon, man. Like, she is fantastic. I mean, you can't ask for like a more like positive, upbeat, genuinely nice person answering your
Smart.
phones, taking your order. I mean, she's so smart. She knows what she's doing.
Responsive.
Like,
And you can tell she used to work in a government job, by the way. Yeah, like how on top of everything she is. You reach
no, I
out
mean,
to-
she's like one of our favorite to deal with and do business with. And she's just like she said, she's responsive. And man, we just, honestly, I think that's your secret weapon. You know?
100%.
Oh, yeah, I'm 100%.
Not taking
She's the-
anything away from you. But
no. She's the company, basically.
Yeah.
I'm just a, you know.
you're just
and
a grunt.
I'm just an inspector that goes out, does my job, and I come back and I give her all my paperwork, and she she maintains it. She gets it out. She gets those reports out, and if something's not right on there, she's calling me, hey, what is this? Oh,
It's like a Christina.
I didn't write that down. No, you didn't. Okay, I'm sorry. So, but she wants to make sure that everything is right and that nothing is incorrect.
No,
because
absolutely.
we know if we send you a 4-point or a wind mitigation that's not correct, if we mark not an A1 and we mark this, that it could affect how much they pay. So we want she just makes sure that
She's second eyes.
she's looking
to
for
have.
the permits. She's looking for this. She's looking for that, and she's the one who's really sitting at the house doing all the legwork. All I do is go out there and look at something and go, okay, 1963 water heater. Okay, you're probably gonna have to change that out. But she's looking and she's putting them all together. So when you guys get them and the homeowner gets them, you guys aren't calling
Clean
us
and
back
crisp.
and going, what's this? So
Well,
she's the backbone.
And I love her always being there for us, right? Because like a lot of times when we'll get we need to talk to an inspector or need to talk to somebody about an inspection. Oh, the inspector's out in the field. You know what I mean?
Don't answer the phone.
Or they don't answer the phone. Or hey, when I get back to the office later, I'll send you that. With April, we get it right away because
Yes.
she's in the office
Right.
doing it. While you're out doing the inspection, she's in office taking care of all the paperwork.
And she works so well with the customers too.
Oh, you'd be
She-
surprised how many
yeah.
times I get, April's your wife? Oh, yes, she's my wife. She says she's polite. She answered all my questions. She helped me with this or this. You'd be surprised how many times I get that for April. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I'm the bad person. Oh, you
She's
wrote
got a voice for radio, too.
Well, that's that
That's very soothing.
That's that Southern accent, But yeah, she's really the heart and soul of the company. Sure, I go out and people see me. They talk with her.
Yeah.
They're just looking at me and going, okay, what do you need? I need to get on your roof. I need to do this. I need to do that. But they're really dealing with April. She's the one who's talking with them, telling them what we need when we go out to do a 4-point inspection and we have to take the electrical cover panel off. She's already told them, look, you need to get everything away from that electrical panel.
Good.
Otherwise,
Wow, that's incredible.
We're going to have to come back, and that's just going to slow things up. Because a lot of times we'll get people going, oh, my insurance, this is Thursday, my insurance canceled Friday, and I need to get a 4-point wind mitt. And we go, okay, we'll see if we can fit you in. A lot of times we can fit people in because a lot of times people are busy. But she's telling them, hey, this is what I need. So when the
expedite,
inspector
yeah.
comes, we're not spending, hours removing shelves in front of electrical panel.
Yeah, we're doing
You've
it
got
for-
it
Yeah,
already
she's
done.
teeing it up for you. and
She's
making
teeing it
sure
up,
that they're
right.
Move stuff
prepped at
away
least a
from
little
water
bit.
heaters.
Yeah.
You guys just
so-
know the business so
Yeah.
well.
Well, we've been, like I said, we've been doing it
20
long
years,
enough.
yeah.
You learn a thing or two
Yeah.
during that time. And but she's the one who's saying, look, do you have any paper documentation on? You have shutters. You have any documentation? Because the inspector may need to see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's incredible.
She's doing the permits and going, okay, I see we have a new roof in 2005 during the hurricanes. And they go, oh, no, we got a new roof. We got all the paperwork or whatever. because sometimes the permitting department won't have the new
Fast enough. Yeah.
fast enough or whatever, and they go, oh no, we just got a new roof, we got all that information, I'll have it for the inspector. So she'll let them know what we're going to need, and tell them, that we're only there so much time, and this is what we're going to be doing. So, yeah, but without her, my job would be a hell of a lot higher.
Wow. That's why you guys are like so awesome.
Well, we try.
Yeah,
but like I said,
once
it's her.
a year that an inspection is quote unquote messed up, you've sent the first one. The second one comes within 10 or 12 minutes, so I don't even have time to ask.
I know. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, wait,
So-
what's this? Yeah, you're right.
That's
Yeah.
what she's
You're
doing.
right.
She's
I was just
looking
gonna
at
say
it. She
something
sent
like
it
that,
and go, that's not
Never.
right. Ken, what's... So without her, I think the company would fold.
Yeah.
Tell you the truth. I certainly do. Half the stuff on the computer, I don't know where it's at. But that's why I have her.
That's
Not
awesome.
have her, but she's the better half.
Protect April at all costs.
Yeah, basically, yes. Yes.
that's so
If you come headhunting for her, I'm going to have a problem with that because my company's going to go.
So being in the business as long as you have,
Mm-hmm.
you probably have seen your business or your industry kind of change over time, right? Like I'm assuming early days there was less technology, so it was more handwritten stuff, right? And
Pretty much.
And then you moved into, more sophisticated, programs where you're able to put it all on one page and all that. But what do you see, maybe even the tools you use in your inspections, what are some of the changes you've seen over the years that you think have really helped the industry and help you do your job? And then where do you think in the next few years or next 5 years, where do you think the industry's going? You know what I mean?
When we first started, all you needed was a ladder and a flashlight, and you told people what was going on with the house. Then computer programs came and made our lives a lot easier because a lot of times the narratives are already there, and you just basically take pictures, add them, take the narrative that you need, and there's I have programs that have thousands upon thousands of narratives of everything, but we are always tweaking them. But that was in the early days. Now we've got infrared, we've got drones that are making our life a little safer. We still like to walk on roofs, single roofs or two-story roofs. You usually can take a ladder with you, mount it, because I prefer to walk on a roof, feel the roof, look at a roof. But if it's a 3-story or something where you can't get a ladder up there, then you always have the drone. And then I explained to the people, I prefer to walk on your roof, but some people don't like you walking on the roof. So drones have made it a lot easier. People with concrete tile, they think it's really fragile, but it's concrete. If you know how to walk on concrete tile, you're not going to break them. Yeah. The roofers are on there all the time walking on them and putting concrete tile roofs up. Yeah. But with a drone, I can fly it, especially in the morning when there's morning dew and it makes it slippery. Yeah. It makes my job a lot safer. And I can zoom in with my drone and get a crack, a tile or a missing mortar from a thing and say, hey, you've got this, you've got that. Infrared has come quite a ways. For water detection, we always had moisture meters, but with infrared, sometimes it'll show you something that you didn't see.
It'll actually be behind the wall or something. There's a leak.
Yeah,
you see it.
Or missing insulation because it doesn't see the water; it sees the temperature difference. Yeah. So if you see, you can see the trusses up in the ceiling, but the ceiling is glowing orange. That means you're lacking in insulation, which means you have an energy loss. You might want to call somebody to blow some more insulation, which will help you. And then even Florida Power and Light used to have programs where you would call for an energy audit. I don't know if they still do it. I haven't checked. But you used to be able to call and do an energy audit. They would come and do the same thing and say, hey, look, if you use our contractors, we'll help you put insulation in your attic. Because if we don't have to generate the power that you're using, then we can back our generators and power plants back away. We're going to save money. You're going to save money. It's a win-win for both. But a lot of people go, why would they want? They're there to sell power, but really they have to keep those power plants on, whether you flip a light switch or not. They're running, they're burning fuel. So if they can help you, it was a win-win. Now, I don't know if they still have that, but the infrared has come quite a ways. They've gotten better. The images has gotten better. The price has gotten lower because when they first came out, I mean, I remember watching Mike Holmes' inspection on I think it was HGTV. He'd pull out this $15,000 infrared camera. The average home inspector is not going to pull out a $15,000 infrared camera. We're using $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 ones, but that's how expensive they can do. But infrared has come quite a ways, and really it's just the knowledge that the inspector has, and that's what I hear a lot from other realtors is, where are these new inspectors coming from? Where are they getting their experience? Like I rode around and with my business partner, before he would even let me do an inspection by myself, I was with him for about 6 months. Okay. Well, one, because, the liability, but two, he wanted to know, that you knew your stuff. Yeah. Same thing with my son-in-laws. They rode around with me for a while, for a long, long time. These new inspectors, they, I don't know what their background is. People think, oh, I can go to 2-week school, get my license, and now I'm a home inspector. Well, when you're spending
2 weeks,
yeah, that's all it takes.
Basically, it's 120 hours. You can do it. I belong to association. It's called InterNACHI. It used to be NACHI, National Association of Certified Home Inspectors, but now they're international. So, but they have courses online that go through electrical, plumbing, structural, decks, roofs, everything that you could possibly want. It's there, but a lot of people aren't using that resource to help better themselves. Because I've actually, here's a quick story. I showed up with me and Tom, one of my son-in-laws, to a home inspection. The gentleman hired us to do it, but he also called somebody else and didn't cancel us. So we both showed up.
Wow.
And I was talking with the other inspector, a young guy, and he said, well, we were just shooting the shit, back and forth.
I was going to say
No.
it.
Okay. We were just talking, and he said, well, how long would it take you to do the inspection? I go, with me and Tom, this size house, it was about 2,100 square foot house. I said it'd take us about 2.5 hours. And I said, how long would it take you? And he said, about 40 minutes. And I go, really? I said, okay. So the gentleman called, the homeowner, the buyer who hired us and hired him, showed up, and he said, I'm sorry, Ken, after calling you, I talked to him, and he was a little cheaper, so I'm deciding to go with him. I said, that's fine, have a nice day. But, that's just to show you, he's not doing a thorough inspection. No. He's not 40 minutes worth. Now, I'm not saying that he's not doing a good job. It's just that most inspectors, and if you Google how long it normally takes to do it,
there's no way you're running through
you're
a
looking
house
at a couple
and
hours.
finding everything that you need to be finding in that time period.
Yes.
It's a 4-point with extra pictures, basically.
Yeah, basically what he's doing. Yeah, he's not looking, anything that I would really want to be looked at, but it is what it is. But it's that.
Yeah, like our house was built in 21. We had it, went to Miranda, went to a community, they built it, whatever. We didn't have it inspected before we bought it. It's brand new built. I didn't think we had to. But come to find out, they left the ball stops in the plumbing from both sides of the house. So about 2 days in the house, all the water froze up. I look in our shower and we had that much water in it.
Oh my god!
Like, how was that possible? Whatever. Had to get a plumber out. I called Miranda, whatever, had the plumber out, and sure enough, they pulled the ball stops from both sides. And if I hadn't inspected, I would have known that. Whatever.
Yeah. Same thing
should have done that, but
same thing with my house. My house was built in 2001. This was before I became a home inspector. I had it built, blah blah blah, and I went to use the shower one day, and it was draining fine. But my wife, it was my daughter. She went to use the big garden tub in our master, and she said, I want to try it out. So I said, yeah, go for it. she got up, went to drain it, wouldn't drain. And then this was before I became a home inspector. Well, I called the company. They came in, they snaked it, they pulled paint out of the auger. It was just covered with paint. What I suspect that they did was the painters were cleaning their brushes in the big garden tub, and they weren't flushing it. They were just rinsing it and letting it harden in between that and the shower. When the plumber came out and he pulled it out, and I go, "What is it?" And he goes, "Oh, it's paint." He says, "I see this all the time." Wow. Because the painters, they're not cleaning their brushes outside. They're cleaning them inside because they're inside doing it. But those things happen. Mm-hmm. I tell people, look, even with a brand new build, you really need to have somebody take a look. Because I was at a subdivision, North Merritt Island. The foreman came by and said, "Hey, look, if you need anything, I'm going to be driving up and down the street. Just wave me down." And this was on a Friday, and the people were closing on a Monday. So I get up there. We go up in the attic. There's not one piece of blown-in insulation at all. So I wave the foreman down, and I go, "Hey, just FYI, there's no insulation up in the attic." He goes, "Oh, they did it again?" And I go, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, this is about the third house in the subdivision they forgot." And he says, "I'll have them here this weekend blowing in the insulation." But we see it. We see a lot of times ducts up in the attic get separated because the air conditioning ducts are put in first, and then the drywallers put the ceiling up, and then the insulation installers they're going and they're walking and they're bumping into stuff. I've seen electrical, and it's basically just from that. But if the homeowner didn't have a home inspection, they probably wouldn't have seen it, because most homeowners don't go to the very back of the house in the attic during the summertime. That's what you're paying us to do. We're looking at all that. So
absolutely. Well, in those neighborhoods too, they're building those houses so fast. Like I think that's probably the best advice people could hear today. Is like, if you're buying a new home,
brand new home, please do it.
Do it. I mean, put that. What is it? An extra? I don't want to say your cost. I don't know what they are, $300-400 or whatever.
About that.
So it's like that's money well spent.
Yeah. And if it comes back clean, you got a good house.
Right.
Simple as that.
Absolutely.
And then what we do is we give them a summary report that they can give to Miranda, Lennar, whoever's building the home, and saying, "Hey, look, here's the list that the inspector wants. We'd like you to take care of it." Most homes come with a 1-year warranty, 10-year structural. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have something to show the builder, sometimes he may think, "Oh, it's just a homeowner. He doesn't know what he's talking about." But when you get a licensed professional like myself, we're saying, "Hey, look."
Very nice.
I was in one house where the humidity was about 68%. I have a meter for that, and I go, "This is really, really high. It should be between about 50-55%, even during the summertime. But 68-70%, you're going to feel it." And it was cool, but it felt clammy. And I wrote it up, and they wound up, and
it shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't be that way.
What causes that? Not to get off topic.
Well, a lot of times it could be the size, but then that's
the size
where
of the unit you're saying it could be.
Could be, but that's where we refer to the specialist. I tell people I'm a generalist. I'm like your family physician. You come to me, I put a stethoscope to your heart and go, "Oh, something's not right. I'm going to send you to a cardiologist." Yeah. Well, I see relative humidity at 68-70%. I'm going to say we need to call an AC guy out, find out what's going on, whether it's size wrong, the AC's not working right, but you should be pulling a lot more moisture out, because people don't realize the HVAC does two things. One, it removes the heat or adds cold air. That's what makes you comfortable. But most importantly, here in Florida, it removes the moisture, and it removes a lot of moisture.
Yeah, because if you're running at 68-70% humidity in your house, I mean, that's potentially a big mold problem. Right?
Yes,
absolutely.
Possibility.
Yeah.
Always. Mold is always a possibility, but with that, you're going to feel it. It's just like going outside, and when it's at 70% humidity, you're going to feel, "Oh man, it's thick." I'm breathing. And that's what it is. It shouldn't be there. It should be around 50-55 is normal relative humidity for a home. Okay. But when we see that, that's when we refer to an HVAC guy. Or if we got a problem with a plumber, we refer it to a plumber, and people ask, "Well, how much do you think this will cost?" I go, I don't want to say, because if you're using my estimate as a reason to buy the house, saying, "Oh, I can afford this," and it turns out to be 5 times as much, you're going to be mad at me. So when I tell people, I say, "I have no idea."
Less is more.
Yeah,
Very smart.
it's just to say,
Very
hey,
smart.
call
Yeah.
3 companies, see what they can do for
That's
you,
what I
but you're going to need. But with new builds, I just say, call the contractor, call the builder. You'll see you'll see the picture of my meter showing 78%. Just talk to them and say, hey, something's not right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll say, hey, is your neighbor home? And he goes, yeah, let's take it over there and let's see what his is. His is like 53%. And I go, see, this is what it should be.
Yeah.
You've got a problem. Sometimes
And then you just
showing
gained a
it,
customer from the neighbor too, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
but sometimes showing the customer,
Heck
hey, you got a problem.
that's awesome.
They can see it. They go, oh yeah, I can feel the difference too, going from my house to his house. But sometimes it's that way. So.
Yeah. So tell us some stories, man. Like you've inspected a lot of houses. Like you've had to see some wild stuff.
Have
in
you
your
ever fell
day.
through a roof?
No,
Like, I mean,
No.
you're talking about like stomping, and I know there's some soft spots.
there
I
are
wasn't
some
sure.
soft spots, and we've come close, but we know you can usually see a
I
dip.
have.
You can see
Are
a dip
you
in.
serious?
You can see
That's
the dip,
so scary.
so you know, okay, hey, there's a dip. That usually means water's gotten in there. It's wood rot that's eating the roof. People think the shingles are your roof. That's just a
roof
roof
deck.
covering.
Right.
The roof itself is the plywood
Plywood,
underneath, and you can see a dip. Usually on looking from the ground, we'll walk around the house first, looking for any soft spots. So when we get up there, we'll know not to put our full weight on there. But we've come close. But usually, you catch yourself. But usually that means that they've got an active leak going on, and it's been going on for a while.
Wildest thing.
Wildest thing.
Wildest
Okay,
thing.
here's some of the things I've seen.
I'm really interested in
Here's some of the things I've seen live in an attic: rats, bats, cats, snakes,
Rats,
raccoons.
It's like,
Yes. Well,
Dr.
the snakes
Seuss over here.
The snakes are going after the rats. And
Yeah.
The rats are going after that.
Ugh.
But
What's
we've
the
seen,
worst one to run into in an attic?
I almost came. Well, she was sleeping. It was a mother raccoon. What happened was I was doing it was an older house. It was a repossession back in 2008, 2009. They had a satellite dish, and the dish had, because a lot of times they have to drill the holes through the roof deck. They don't seal them, and then water gets in there. Well, anyway, the wind must have caught it, and it had a hole about this big, and on the roof. And I could see inside the attic. So anyway, I get up there, go into the attic. I'm looking around, fine, and then I see these 3 black furry things just squirming on the insulation with my flashlight. So I'm looking, and I go, "Oh, those are babies. Babies. Where's the mama?" Okay, so I started looking, and I see her. She's sleeping on the concrete block wall in between. Okay, you have the concrete block wall and you have the roof.
Yeah.
She's just sleeping right there because they're nocturnal. So I take a picture, very quietly, back away, and I tell the people, look, I can't finish the inspection because you got a live
family up there.
You have a family. You have a raccoon. It's going to have to be extradited to
Somebody
somewhere
else
else.
has already moved in.
Yep,
Yeah.
but
sorry.
I will come back. But a lot of times, when you're not expecting a live animal and you see eyes looking at you or whatever, it kind of startles you
yeah.
because you're not expecting it.
I would faint.
Freak
First,
out.
immediately faint.
But yeah,
No.
and there was another raccoon story. It was a model home. The model was there for about a year and a half. It was in Cocoa Beach. So I go up there, and I'm seeing all this feces and all this stuff and ductwork all chewed up. And I'm hearing this noise. And I take my flashlight and I'm looking. And in the very corner, I see 2 ears popping on the backside of the concrete block. He was sitting on the soffit, but he had his ears up. And for some reason, I just went, and he popped up. I saw what it was. And I said, "Hey, you've got a problem." And they go, "What?" I go, "1, you've got a live raccoon up in your attic. 2, all your ducts are all chewed up from rats and stuff." And I said,
That
"You
sounds
probably," and we were doing it for a buyer, and I said, "You're probably going to have to have the builder come in and redo all your ductworks, redo all the insulation, because all the insulation is now urine soaked, feces soaked. And I said, they're going to have to basically come in and decontaminate this attic. Wow. So, yeah, I've seen some weird stuff, you know, and I've seen what you said, you know, have you ever gone through a roof? No, it was an inspection on a townhouse. Elderly people passed away. They were having an estate sale. So we get there. They've already set up for the estate sale. But we go into the garage, and there's this massive hole right next to the pull-down ladder in the attic. Oh. So what I do is I call the listing agent and said, hey, this is Ken from Happy Home Inspections. I just got to this property. We got into the garage. There's a big hole there. And we did not do it. Okay? I did not do it. She said, no. It was the estate people. They were up there removing some stuff, and she fell through the trusses, and she broke her leg. You know, wow. But I just said, I just wanted to let you know this is how I found it. Just wanted to, you know, let you know. She said, no, you're good. Just do what you have to do. But yeah, we see stuff. We see, you know, we've seen hoarders houses where we can't even get through there. Oh, yeah. And I go, I can't do my job.
Why would you even inspect it that?
Well, you can't. No. They basically after the fact, you know, they just said, hey, can you go back and just look at the structural and the roof? Don't go inside. Yeah. Because we're going to gut it anyway. And we're going to take it down to the studs. And we said, no problem. So we did it. But when we first showed up, we walked in and I said, excuse me, ma'am, I'm going to have to come back. I'm not feeling very well. Yeah. But when I came back and I said, look, we can't do this inspection. And I said, it's a hoarder's house. And it's a mental illness, just like alcoholism, anything. Yeah. I said, hey, it is what it is. But if you get it cleared out, we'll be more than happy to come back.
You're so sweet.
Yeah. Well, you know, people are people. You know, when I was a reserve deputy my last 3 years, you learn to deal with people that aren't mentally there. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you try to treat them like you would want your family treated. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, not all of a sudden, boom, arresting them for whatever. You want to find out what's going on. Why are they that? Because a lot of times it is mental, and that's the problem we have with law enforcement now, is because the situations escalate so quickly. They don't have time to say, "Hey, man, what's going on? Are you okay? Mm-hmm. Let's talk for a few minutes." De-escalate it. What it is this guy's so wound up, he's ready to go, and you don't have time, so you do have to do that. But trying to explain to people, hey, I can't do this because of this. Too. Yeah. And it's a shame. It's just like anything else. It's a disease that has to be dealt with. But in our job, you can't. You know, you're afraid stuff's going to fall on you. You can't get to outlets.
Well, you can't even see anything. The stuff you need to see. And most don't know what's behind it all.
Yeah. And so, you know, there's sometimes when we just have to say, no, we can't do this inspection.
Any dogs?
Oh, yeah. What's really sometimes funny is you ask the you're doing an inspection, whether it's a home inspection or an insurance inspection. Is there any dogs in the backyard? No, they're friendly. They won't bite. My son-in-law went back there. He got bit. You know. Yeah. So now we go. You got any dogs? Yeah, they're friendly. They don't bite. Well, can you put them away? This is where we're going to need to go. Yeah. Okay. When we're done with the outside, I'll knock on the front door, so you can put them in the back. But we've had some instances with dogs.
The dogs never bite until they do.
Exactly. That's it. And they go,
you don't know
he's never done that
them.
Before. How? What you must
have guests in 20 years.
Yeah. Or you must have provoked them. And he goes, no, I was just taking pictures.
I remember this is years ago, a long time ago. I was going to a buddy's house, and he has this dog, and I knew the dog was, a little sketchy. And I was going in just to like grab something I had left there or whatever. And he's like, just go in. I go, dude, this dog is like acting like it's going to murder me on the other side of this door. I'm not just walking in. He goes, just take your hat off. You'll be fine. I'm like, definitely not going in now.
I know. Like, what's the hat?
I guess the hat triggers the dog or something. And I'm like, dude, you're out of your mind. I'll wait. It ain't that important. Yeah. I'll come back.
Yeah. But, most of the times people have friendly dogs. I'm a dog person. All my kids have dogs.
You have dogs?
Yeah, I did when he passed away, but Chandler.
Way to go, Ian.
But sorry. Yeah. But most of the time, I'm petting the dogs. I'm saying, hey, come help me inspect, and they're always, they're friendly. It's the ones that want to use me as a chew toy, like a Rottweiler or something like that. That's where I started saying, hey, he's a little big. Can you just put him away just for 10 minutes? Let me just do what I need to do in this one bathroom and we can get him out, whatever. But dogs, not so much cats, but mainly dogs. But I've seen pets. I've seen lizards, turtles. I mean, I saw this guy in Palm Bay. He had a big ass tortoise, it's something like you would see at a zoo in the backyard.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I have a couple customers that have them. I'm like, why?
It's their thing. I've seen boa constrictors. I've seen, snakes. I've seen it all pretty much.
Monkeys?
Yeah. No, birds. I've seen birds. I don't.
Monkeys?
No, I see a lot of birds, a lot of normal pets, but not anything exotic. No lions. No, I like that place on North Merritt Island used to have.
You got anything in the backyard? Oh yeah, I got a lion back there.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're gonna be like, cool.
Yeah, is he friendly? I want to get a picture. I want to get a selfie. Yeah, no.
His name's Kevin. He's harmless.
What's one tool you can't live without?
Flashlight.
Flashlight.
Well, actually, the brain.
Yeah.
Because that's where it all comes from.
Good answer, man.
If I look at a crack, I can tell you if it's
a natural, dude. What a great answer. What a great answer.
I can tell you if it's structural in nature, which all cracks are structural in nature, but sometimes it'll be just a hairline crack and a stucco, and people start freaking out going, oh, my house is falling down. Mm-hmm. And I go, no. I can show you pictures of that. But it's really my mind. It's knowing my job and being able to converse with somebody and explain exactly what's going on to the point where you don't freak them out, and they understand what you're explaining and why. Yeah. I have doing this for so long, you always have a couple of sayings, and I tell people, look, this is my background. I built, commercial facilities, Air Force bases, but as a young airman, we were pouring concrete, and a couple of days later it cracked. And I asked the structural engineer, and I go, is this going to be a problem? Because we got a crack. He says, let me tell you about concrete. There's only two types of concrete, new and cracked. Okay. And there's a difference. Okay. If it's a crack wider than a pencil eraser, we got a problem. Yeah. Or if there's any deflection, like one side is dropped, then we got a problem. Yeah. But normally, a hairline crack is just the nature of the product. Yeah. You can seal it up, to keep insects from coming in and stuff like that. And with some of these older homes, especially in the corners of these 1960s houses, there's rebar that they put in the corners. And sometimes that rebar will start. People don't realize that concrete is actually porous. You get moisture in there if you don't have it sealed, painted, or whatever. You can get rust, and that rebar will start to what we call spall, which basically means it's expanding and will crack the corner of the concrete. And then so I tell people, look, this is what's going on. You're probably going to have to call a structural engineer out, see what it's going to take to just fix it. It's just on this one corner. It's not on every corner, but this is what happened. There's a rebar in there, and it's starting to rust and expand, and that's what's causing it. Same thing with window sills. A lot of times, with concrete blocks homes, you have the window sill that sticks out. A lot of times there's a crack there. Well, that's got rebar in it too, but it was just never sealed by paint. The painter never got underneath it, and that's what happens. And I said, I would probably have it fixed, but it's not holding up the house. Basically, it's there for aesthetics, so.
Man, I could talk to you all day long about this stuff.
And me too, but there's one thing I do want to do with you guys.
What?
Everybody pick one. Ken always treats us on holidays.
Oh, look at you.
And wanted to share the love.
Oh, thank you.
You really buy these?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
All right, so while we're scratching these.
Well, you got to tell them about this.
Oh, well, every Christmas, Ken comes into the office.
And he treats us.
By bringing
and we all fight over
a handful of scratch-offs. And been doing that for 10 years.
God.
So, yeah, it's just
we've been doing business with you for, I think, 13 plus years. since we've been open.
Ken, I hope you retire me right now with these. You
I
know?
hope so too. I mean, these are nice.
Yeah.
So
Just
Thank
thought
you.
we could do a couple with you, since you would just
I know
drop them off and leave.
Sorry about yeah. Well, that's
And we love it, and we appreciate
I
it.
try to give back. You guys give me a lot, so I try to give back. And this is an easy way of just giving you a scratch off and saying, hey, I hope that makes you a millionaire. And it's, but it does around Christmas time going, oh, wow, yeah, these are cool.
Oh, we look forward to it every year.
And you know what? It's so funny because there's a couple of us in here. We just do this.
Oh, yeah,
and
down to the
and
bottom
we
and
just scan it
cheat.
with our app.
Oh, that's so fun.
I know.
That's so fun.
I know. We just do that, and we just like scan it with our app to see if we win.
I like doing the old-fashioned
Yeah,
way. It takes a
yeah.
little longer. You get your anticipation up, and you go, okay, that's a bonus. That's a bonus. Let's see what this is.
All right, man. So while we're doing this, I'm going to ask you some questions
Sure.
before we wrap it up.
Sure.
Would you rather be in the attic or a crawl space?
Oh.
That's a good question. Attic, depending on the time of year. Crawl space, depending on how confined it is. Because I have a little bit of claustrophobia. When you're getting under there and you're crawling around, you're just thinking about this big old house on top of you, and you revert back to places that you don't want to be. So what you try to do, you try not to think about it. You just basically do it. But luckily, here in Florida, we don't have a lot of crawl spaces. Manufactured homes, they'll have a crawl space, but a lot of times that's where all the ducts and the tie downs, and sometimes you can't get in there. Most homes around here are going to be slab on grade, which makes it great for us. We don't have basements, we don't have crawl spaces. So out of 100 homes, we might go into 4 crawl spaces.
Gotcha.
So there's not
There's
really
not
that.
a lot of-
So to answer your question, crawl spaces, because there's not that many of them.
Yeah.
Attics, just depending on the time of year. August afternoon, the hottest I've ever seen it, and it was a big house. I had all of my inspectors with me. They come down and they go, man, it's hot up there. And I said, here's the infrared. Give me a picture. 163 degrees. The lowest temperature on your oven is 170 to 175. Okay, that's your oven in your home. So imagine that up there, and you've got to walk the whole thing, and you're looking, we work for a pest control company, so we do termites. We're looking for, that. We're looking for any problems. And that's why most of the time we bring multiple pairs of clothes with us, because during the day we're probably going to be soaked, drenched to the thing. And but to answer your question, I like attics in newer homes over older homes. Older homes, like your 1960s
Anything?
and 50s and 60s house.
Thank you, though.
The roof pitches are going to be so low where a lot of times you can't even crawl,
Gotcha.
because they're so full of ductwork. Because when the homes were built, there wasn't central air conditioning. There was window units.
Yeah.
But when they did add central air conditioning, they had to put the duct somewhere, and they usually fill the whole attic space filled with that. So, but new houses, I like walking around looking, up in the attics, just because, like I said, I'm claustrophobic, and I don't want to be under there any longer than I have to.
Gotcha.
But I do my job and we do it.
No, I hear you. All right, let's fire through some of these last ones here.
Sure.
You can just give one word answers here. We don't have to go into a full conversation about them, but before we wrap up. So, a phone call or text message?
Phone,
Dogs or cats?
dogs,
Fix it or replace it?
Depends if you're paying for it.
50-50. No, if it can be fixed,
Yeah.
I would prefer to fix it. That way I know it's done. I fixed it or had somebody fix it. But yeah, I would. But it also depends. If it's like a 15-year-old water heater and a element went out, I'd probably replace it.
Gotcha. If you weren't doing inspections, what would you do?
If I could, I would be a pilot, but I can't because I'm colorblind. But if I wasn't doing home inspection, I enjoyed my time as a reserve deputy, but I wouldn't want to do that now. I like driving trucks,
All right.
believe it or not.
He's probably thinking
Solitude.
about retirement.
Yeah.
When you're running around town, where's your favorite lunch spot?
Wherever I can get it in and out quickly, and that's not Chick-fil-A. Because Chick-fil-A, they're backed
A
out.
lot of gas station food.
No, more McDonald's and Burger King.
Okay.
Because normally
nothing wrong with it.
we're going from one place to another, and
Yep.
you only got time for a drive-through.
All right. If you could have dinner with any 3 people, dead or alive, who'd they be?
Ooh, that would be 3 people. Hitler, so I can kill him.
Jeez. What an
Hey, I'm
answer.
telling you, I'm just telling
I
you the
respect
truth.
it.
Because
What
what
an
he did, but
Yeah.
I did not have that on my bingo card today.
Yeah.
no, that so I could do good
Yeah.
for the
I
world.
think it's a great answer.
I would like to have lunch with Warren Buffett,
Okay.
pick his brain for about 30 minutes, and
Yeah.
see what I can do,
Love it.
and then probably.
Get over it. My face went.
I know. I knew that was going to throw everybody off. But,
No, it was great.
my dad.
I love that.
My dad, because he was in the military, he flew. A lot of times we didn't see. And then when I joined at 18, I was gone for 20 years. And then when I moved back to Florida, he had already moved to the Carolinas. So I really didn't get to see,
Gotcha.
except maybe once a year or whatever. But I would like to, spend time just, because he's passed away. And just to,
That's a great answer.
Great
just
answer.
to say thank you.
Yeah. No,
Thank you for
I love that.
making me the person that I believe I've turned out to be.
No, absolutely.
You know.
Yeah.
Everybody who's listening, I want them to hear this interview with Ken. Be more like Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And seriously, man.
Genuine. He cares about other people.
Yeah.
Selfless sounds like.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to be more like Ken Ruppert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We love you, man. We
Oh,
do.
I appreciate
you
it.
Guys
I love you guys.
You guys have
No.
been, yeah. You and April, man. You guys are just
Rock stars.
fantastic. Absolutely rock stars. And I meant it when I said it, man. You guys have made a major impact here on the Space Coast with your inspections and stuff. And so,
I hope we've done something good.
yeah.
Because
no,
why
absolutely have.
why be on Earth if you can't
Yeah.
help your fellow man or do something good?
All right, man. Let's wrap it up. So, yeah, if anybody wants to get a hold of Ken, Happy Home Inspections.
321-302-1120.
Yep, that's
Happy
it.
Home
We memorized
Inspection
that.
at gmail.com.
Yes, Happy Home Inspection
Yep.
at Gmail, not S.
no
There's
S
no
on
S.
the end.
Yeah, Happy Home
Inspection.
Inspection
Yeah.
at gmail.com.
Yep.
Yep,
Perfect.
License
I've been
number
trying to get.
HI162.
Yeah, I've been trying to get that
Again,
Happy
number
Home
321-302-1120.
Inspections.com. But guy's got it for sale for he bought it right when it was. Anyway, long story short, I'm not paying $2,000 for a web name. So,
No.
but
We got you, Ken.
Yep. So
All
if,
right,
we,
man.
if we
Let's-
can do anything,
Yeah,
please
we're
give
going to
us a
share
call.
this on socials, and I hope people listen to it and
hope
get more
so,
insight
too.
into you. And I think please use Ken Ruppert, Happy Home Inspection.
Did anybody win on their scratch off?
I don't know.
No,
I
a
haven't
bunch of
looked yet.
duds.
Bunch of duds.
What?
Hold on.
I'm never buying from there.
Wait a minute. Wait,
Was
But,
that Street?
wait
But
a
they
minute.
always win.
But let's go ahead.
How do
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right.
Appreciate everybody listening.
Yep.
Let's get out of here. Love
Thank you guys.
See ya.
Appreciate it.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Studio 321 podcast, powered by Brightway, the Steve Trout Agency. We can't thank you enough for being part of our journey. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with a friend. Until next time, 3, 2, 1, we're out.